building. So welcome to day 3 of the 5-day intuition challenge. This 5 days is geared towards sparking your intuitions, allowing you to understand just what's happening inside your body, the processes, the biology of intuition, so that we can make more sense of it, so it can feel more tangible to the majority of us. Instead of it being some metaphysical out there kind of concept, we're bringing it down to the earthly plane where we can understand it better on biological terms and understand that we're all wired with it, every single last one of us. I have this little saying, I say we all have intuition, but not all of us are intuitive because a lot of people don't use it. And so I think that that's number one faux pas of the century, or at least my lifetime, that we don't utilize our intuitions as much as we could or should, right? But I think the great minds of ancient wisdom, ancient philosophies, even really modern century successful people really understand the power of the intuition. Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, who are a few others that really just talk a lot about the intuition. Oh gosh, they'll come to me, but they're quite a few, and surprisingly, mostly men. To my surprise, yes, that was a biased thing that I just said. Don't shoot me, because I think that biologically, women, for lots of reasons, are just more open and receptive, more intuitive naturally. However, our cultures and our society, our education system, our parents, all of the above have not honored our intuitions or helped us develop them. So this has been my lifelong quest, developing my own intuition and helping other people develop theirs, because there's so much magic when you leverage your intuition, when you use it. The guidance is so much easier. Answers come so much smoothly. That whole grind of figuring things out is over. We can just tap in and listen and take notes. We're always being guided. We're always being directed. Our questions, our desires are always being answered. And so I think it's quite wise for all of us to develop our intuitions so that we can really live well and tap into that magic, instead of trying to figure out the answers by listening to other people and all the news and the chatter in the world. It's like, no, it's overwhelming. There's so much misinformation. A lot of it's just ridiculousness. So I opt to go within. I opt to tune in to the best channel on the planet, in the universe, and that is to my intuition. Tap right into universal consciousness, into truth with a capital T. Doesn't have to be fact checked. And when we hear the truth, we know it. We know it. It resonates on a vibrational level in our bodies. So that's the stuff that I'm guided by. I always wait for that intuitive guidance. I don't try to push it. If I need to do some work to get myself more open and receptive and less blocked, I'll do that. But I don't push for the answers, because I know that the answers and the guidance is here. I just haven't received it yet, or I need to do some work to open up and be receptive. So we'll talk a lot about that as we continue in this 5 days, about how to open up and be receptive, and the powers that be that are guiding us. So the last couple of days, we talked about the first 2 brains. We talked about the gut brain and we talked about the heart brain. And today I want to talk about the head brain, the brain, the one that's right here. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up, please, and let me know that you are here before I dive into the meat of the conversation. I'm going to open up my Facebook. See if we are here. Okay. It is streaming. It is recording. I am not seeing myself here. I think I remember. Okay, I'm going to keep going. It will record, and then I will just put it over. Okay, so all right, great. You're here. Perfect. Okay, had a little nervous glitch there for a sec, but it's all good. If it's recorded in one place, I can upload it in other places. Okay, so let's talk about the brain. Let's talk about the third brain, the head brain, and how this works, especially with regards to intuition. So, looking at my notes, I watched a really interesting documentary last night and a couple of TED Talks on this whole concept of the three brains. And I've been using this terminology about the three brains in my own way. And, I come to find out last night that there's quite the philosophy about the three brains. And so I had just been doing my own research and connecting the dots on my own. So it was very validating to see other people noticing the same things that I'm noticing. It was very validating to see that. And they gave me simpler terminologies to use, like calling them the three brains. And we all had the same thing in common, how we were describing it with our words. Like when we are talking about our gut brain, the common phrase for all of us to use is, go with your gut, or trust your gut. And then for the heart, it's follow your heart. And then for the head brain, it's use your head. So we have had these collective phrases for a long time that point us to our intuitive brains. So we got the three. So let's recap a little bit about the three first. It was really interesting I made this three column deal on the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. And if we look at it, and we talked a little bit about this, how it corresponds with the chakras, right? And the head brain is the upper, the heart brain is the middle, and the gut brain is the lower. And yesterday I alluded to the heart brain being the bridge between the two, between the humanity and the divinity. So let's go to the head brain. It represents our eternalness, our eternal state of being, our oneness with the universe, our spirit, so to speak. And then the heart characteristic is the soul. It is the seat of our soul, and our soul is different than our spirit. Our spirit is our life force energy, and then our soul is our very unique energetic fingerprint or thumbprint. We are also very unique at a soul level, and we all have come here for different soul purposes or soul contracts. That's theoretical, but I do believe that we have, each of us has a specific soul dharma or a purpose, a reason why we're here. And then the gut at that level is, the characteristic is to quench our physical desires and to experience the physical human experience on the planet, to taste really good food, to have really good sex, to get the pleasure factors and the creation and the manifesting. So and that takes place in the physical body, of course, right? And then in the heart, the body that is the primary is the emotional body. So we talked about how we receive our guidance through our emotions. And with the physical body or the gut brain, we get our signals through physical feelings, sensations, goosebumps, pains, aches, shivers, those kinds of things. And then in the head brain, that is the ethereal or spiritual body. And so that's how we connect with the bigger cosmos. And if you think of a tree, and I saw a picture in my mind's eye of the tree of life. So I was like, this feels all very familiar to me. So I studied Kabbalah for a little bit. Kabbalah. Everybody says it different. But the big focus is the tree of life, and the tree of life also corresponds with the chakra system. And so if you look at your head brain, the upper, you could see the leaves of the tree. And if you look at the heart brain, you would see the trunk of the tree, the strength, the sturdiness of the tree. And then if you look at the gut brain, you would see the roots of the tree. And of course, that definitely corresponds with the chakras, the root chakra, the heart chakra, and the crown chakra, right? I love having these connections because it just validates a lot of concepts that run through my head. And the idea that cultures for centuries around the globe, we've all had these similar concepts and thoughts and philosophies. And when I hear them over and over again, represented in different ways, it's just validation. Who doesn't like validation? I know I do. So let's talk about the strength of the head brain. The head brain is our connection with the universe. It's our connection with collective consciousness, the ethereal, the big stuff, the infinite possibilities. That's where we connect with God, source, universe. We have different labels to describe that. And a lot of people, well, we all love to make that connection, right? And we can make that connection very tangibly when we have a daily spiritual practice or a meditation practice, and that we set it as a daily goal to make that connection and to keep that connection open, semi-open. We don't want to stay open all the time because then we wouldn't get any work done, right? So there's a balance here, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I do know that it's become very culturally popular to tap into the head brain more so by taking shortcuts like taking drugs, ayahuasca, LSD, marijuana, you name it. I'm not here to judge, but I'm just saying you can do it without all that and you won't have any side effects and kill your brain cells, right? So everybody is really curious about accessing that plane, and it's very accessible is my point. It's so very accessible. We don't need to go to these extremes. We can, and I think to stay in our lanes too, I'm a little conservative when it comes to that. Stay in our lanes. We're human beings. We don't know what we can handle in the capacity, and I don't want to hurt myself, right? So I just do things organically and naturally to the capacity that I am wired for. So I have a profound respect for the human body and a profound respect for all the systems working together, and knowing that all of this is accessible 24/7. Shortcuts not necessary like that. Not if it's going to hurt you. Okay, not even curious. Then when we talk about the strength of the heart brain, we know that the big strength of the heart brain most definitely is relationship, the connection that we have with our fellow humans, and the feelings of compassion and the feelings of love and the feelings of caring. And so this is our connector to the humans on the planet. And this is our connector to the vast universe. And then the gut, the strength of the gut, this is fun, is manifesting and creativity. We're the only creatures on the planet, if you think about it, who have free will and the ability to use our hands to really create things and to write and to produce and to make music and to make food and to make art, to make a course, to make a business. We are to make jobs. We're very creative beings, and we wouldn't be able to do this without our physical bodies, without that the gut brain. The gut brain drives all of those impulses for us to procreate and to create. So we see the magic and the necessity for all three brains to be working in harmony with each other. Okay? I find this stuff fascinating. I'm curious, how are you guys finding this information? I think it's so useful. I think it's so useful to know that we are just wired for this. It's our natural state of being. So we can finally just get rid of all that nonsense that intuition is only for a select group of people, like, oh, I don't want to use labels, but that it's generational and then it's a gift for only a select few. No, it's not. It's everybody's. And it's our God-given built-in mechanism. So is it a gift? I think it's a gift because it gives us choices. I also think free will is a gift. I love to have free will and to be able to make my own choices. So I look at a lot of our body um, characteristics or the components, the systems. I look at a lot of them as gifts. Our immune system is a gift, for goodness sakes. It keeps us alive. And if we treat it well, it keeps us really healthy and very strong against threats. So do I think they're all gifts? Pretty much. I think it's a pretty amazing thing to be a human being on this planet, especially at this time. And so now that we have the words, the tools, the understanding of our physical body systems better, our biology, we can plug in those things that used to elude us or think that they were something extra special for extra special people. And now we can plug it all in and say, no, it's just our normal. It's just our everyday normal. You know what? Let's leverage this. Let's grow it. Let's really get on top of this because we got some manifesting to do. We got some healing to happen. We have some guidance that we want, so that we can do our work and just, be the best versions of ourselves. And so, yes, it's in our best interest to understand this and to continue to grow it, but to know that it's yours. It's organically yours. It's always been yours, and it will always continue to be yours. So let's talk about, hi there. Okay, let's talk about the brain itself. I'm not going to get too far into the structure or the anatomy of the brain. I'm going to talk about the processes of the brain more so in a very, very simple, my kind of way of doing it. So I have really just broken down the brain in three parts. I like to simplify things. So first, we have that thinking mind. So this is actually three levels of the mind inside the brain, right up here. We have the thinking mind. That's where we have our intellect. That's where we can discern. That's where we have judgment. That's where we do our problem solving. That's where our monkey mind lives. That's where a lot of anxiety can live. So I think all of our components have definitely a really positive aspect and then sometimes a negative aspect. And so our job as a human is to figure it out and to balance it as best we can, but it all starts with awareness and understanding. So we have the intellectual thinking mind. I love the intellectual thinking mind. And I know that the people who are highly intellectual, they have a lot of energy around this part of their head, which makes them more intuitive in this area. I'll get more into that in a sec. So, part two of the mind, in my mind's eye, is the receiving mind. So, we have the intellectual mind that is active, more masculine in nature, problem solving, figuring it out, pros and cons list, all those cool things that we do. And then we have that receiving mind or the receptive mind, and that's more feminine in nature, and it is more passive. That's where we have our perceptions. We don't have to think about what we see or what we hear. Our brain just processes this stuff. And so we have these really easy passive perceptions. That's where our intuitive hits come. That's where the downloads come. So we have this open and receptive mind as part of the process here. So in our receiving mind, that's when information comes to you. And I'll talk about how it comes to you in just a sec, but it actually just comes to you. You didn't think of it. You didn't process that. You didn't do the problem solving step-by-step process that your thinking mind does. You actually just got the download. And then the third part of our brain, our head brain, is our connecting mind. And our connecting mind is when it's activated, it's wide open. And that's the bridge to the universe. That's the bridge to the higher consciousness. That's the bridge to our higher self. That's the bridge to what we call God, divine intelligence, universe, right? That's when we can channel. That's when we can receive information from on high. So I call it the upper room, and get the best guidance on the planet, And so I'll talk about a little bit about where that might be coming from. But those are the three levels of the head brain. So the different levels of mind. I love the mind. I love, love, love the mind. There are some thoughts about, the rational mind and the monkey mind gets a lot of bad press, lots of it. And it's kind of sad because it's like the mind is such a powerful, amazing tool. But I also err on the side of don't believe everything you think. It's one of my favorite things to say. Don't believe everything you think, because it's that place, that thinking mind, that can be thinking by default or thinking by things that we have picked up along the way, unconsciously, subconsciously, the things our parents told us, how the grandpa used to do that. So then we carry it into our modern mind or our current mindset. So the rational mind isn't always based in capital T truth. It's a really powerful tool, though, for problem solving, for structuring things, for finding patterns, for writing, for, it's intellectual yumminess. It's good stuff. But it's probably the least reliable. It is the least reliable. Our receptive mind is a step up. It's way more reliable. And then the connecting mind is super reliable. Like the information that we receive through that, I believe, is the standard of capital T truth, the universal wisdom that we all have access to. And like I said, when we hear the truth, we know it. It resonates. It resonates on a soul level for us. And then that other stuff, the intellectual kind of mind chatter, might not resonate. We can change our mind about that. And I'm all about changing your mind. So feel free to change your mind whenever you need to, because what you thought in your thinking mind yesterday may not be true today. And so to be flexible in that, I think is wise. And I also think it's very mature, right? So that we don't have to be so stuck in our thought processes and to be adaptable in that. Okay, so let's talk about the chakras. Yes. I know that in the last couple of days in the challenge, I mentioned the chakras for everything. The chakras are like my second language. And so it just dawned on me this morning when I was getting ready for class that, oh, you know what? Some people might not know what the chakras are. So maybe we need to pump the brakes a little bit and talk a little bit more about them. Now, I teach all about the chakras in great, great detail next quarter, or it's the healing quarter. So maybe that's quarter 2, but in super great detail. So I'm not going to do that here, but the chakras are most definitely our energy centers. It's just another word for the energy centers, and it's a different naming system from a different philosophy, but it's the same stuff. So there we have energy centers in our bodies up and down, and we talk a lot about the vagus nerve going from the spine to the or up and down the spine, and then also in the I don't know the source. Is it Ayurvedic or is it Hindi? I'm not sure, but the Kundalini yoga, the Kundalini thought, it's all the same stuff. Again, that's validation. We're talking about that connection from the base of the spine, or the base of the brain, all the way down the spine to the intestines, the lower intestines, right? So, and the energy that flows up and down that. So we most definitely know that there's an energy in addition to the organs that are there, that are present, or maybe it's the organs creating the energy, chicken egg. They do affect one another, though. The organs affect the processes, and then the vagus nerve and our thoughts and our feelings, everything affects everything. So there's channels of information flowing every which way all the time. And so when we understand that, we can play with it, and we can calm it down, right? We can listen better. We can focus on our well-being so that we can hear, basically. So let's talk a little bit about the chakra that is associated with the second brain. I'm sorry, the second mind of the third brain. So we're talking about the brain. We're talking about the receiving mind, part of the brain, and the chakra associated with that is the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is associated with the third eye chakra. And so we think of the third eye chakra right here, right between our eyes. And the third eye chakra speaks to inner sight. It speaks to inner vision. And then the pineal gland, which is actually, it's right, if you go from your throat or your mouth to the back of your brain, it's back here more so. The pineal gland, it's tiny. It's like the size of a piece of rice. And it is known as the gateway to light. And so it responds to melatonin, produces melatonin and serotonin. It only produces like 10% of the serotonin, though, because the gut produces 90% of our serotonin, which means we really need to take care of our guts, right? And so the pineal gland is the gateway to light, and on a very physical, tangible level and on a metaphysical level. So this is the gateway to the light, how I see it. It's waking us up in the morning, the very tangible stuff, and then also waking us up in our intuitive mind. So the receiving mind is the intuitive mind. And the intuitive mind is ruled by the third eye chakra and the pineal gland. So this is where we have that insight into things where, you just know, you can read between the lines, like somebody is talking and you're actually focused on the words that they're not saying, or their body language even, or you're just picking up the sensory information into your third eye. So that's why I say that words can be untrue, but energy never lies. And so our third eye is picking up on the energy. We're reading, literally reading with our eye, the third eye, we're reading the energy of people, places, and things. And this is what I do for a living, folks. So I'm very practiced in doing this, and I love the third eye chakra. It is so cool and so amazing. And then couple that with the connecting mind, the crown chakra. So now we're talking about the third eye chakra here, the crown chakra up here. When these two are playing together, whew, you can see the energy, you can sense the energy, and you can also connect with the higher realms. So you can connect with, let's talk about what we can connect with. Universal truth, universal energy, God. We can connect with the energy of people who have passed. We can connect with the energy of our ancestors. We can connect with the energy of your spirit guides, helpers, angels. Every culture has different terminologies for this. But there is just a plethora of information and helpers at this level. And so when we have our third eye and our crowns activated, we can access anything. We can channel, we can read energy, we can get downloads, we can get guidance. Now, is it something that you want to be open and doing constantly? Like I said before, probably not, because we have to get our work done. We have things to create. We have bills to pay. We have groceries to buy. We have school to go to. We have families to feed, right? So there's this balance of going up and down the scale and back and forth. And of course, I do this more than the average person because this is my job. This is my work. This is my life's work. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. Now, you can see where people are strong or maybe out of balance. I would consider myself a little out of balance. So when I'm uber focused on my work and my head brain, that's the word I'm looking for. My head brain, which I am quite a bit, I'm pretty heady up there. Then we have a tendency to be in a really highly inspired place. Our minds are just activated and receiving a lot and wanting to understand a lot. There's a lot of curiosity, the imagination, that's where the imagination is. That's where the intellect is. So there's a lot of activity here. And for me, it's like Disneyland. It's so fun to stay up here. And so you know where I'm going with this. If I'm out of balance, I'm not taking care of my body. I'm not taking care of my gut. Right. And so then we have to find our balance. And so wherever you're strong and focused and where you're most active, that's amazing and we can grow it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that we got to keep it in balance, right? And I'm going to talk about more of that when I close this conversation. So let me know if you have any questions about what I've been talking about so far. Hopefully, I'm breaking this down to where it's really tangibly understandable for you, so that you can understand all of the really amazing resources that you have right here, right here. Don't want to neglect the arms and the legs, but they seem to just be helping us navigate. But all of the systems up and down our bodies, from the base of our spine to the tops of our heads. Pretty amazing. Okay, so we talked about the pineal gland and the third eye and the receiving mind. And we talked about the crown chakra and the seventh, and connecting with the higher information. Also, there's schools of thought that talk about healing, the healing work, the energy healing work. So I am a Reiki master as well, and I love doing energy healing. Do I understand it fully? Not really. Kind of like electricity. I don't understand electricity at all, but I know that it's there. I know it works. And so I use it a lot, just like everybody else. Same with the healing frequencies. So there's different schools of thought, and I don't know exactly where this stuff comes from, but I do know that it's there, and I use it and I utilize it, all the time. And I think that that's part of my personal dharma, my purpose for being here. And I think it's also the reason for the majority of the empaths who are on the planet. I think that we are the healers of the world. Does this mean we have to put people on tables and lay hands on them? No, it means that we get our energy correct, for the most part, balanced, healthy. It's probably the better word, healthy energy, and that we really just utilize that heart space frequency that we have, and we channel using our head energy to beam love and healing and light on people in the planet. Now, yeah, I went to the woo-woo place. I told you I was, but I know this to be truth with a capital T. I don't know all the details, and I'm scared of people who say that they do know the details, honestly. But it feels to me like we are channeling that higher energy, that high energy that people take ayahuasca to try to get. You know what I mean? So we all know that there is this higher energy out there that is perfection and the well-being of the universe, the stuff that governs the planets, that grows the babies, that grows the grass, all of that. And that when we access that, we can tap into it, we can channel it into our own body and project it onto other people, with collaborating with them, and even not collaborating with them. So anyway, I am really passionate about the healing aspect of the empath and the work of the empath. But I do know that it incorporates the head and the heart. Yeah, so I'm okay. Looks like I got kicked off there for a sec. Are we still here? All right. Let me know if you guys are still here and if any of this is resonating with you. I think I just blew a circuit, getting a little too amped. Okay. All right, so I want to move into doing some, unless you guys have questions about the chakras, if you have questions about the brain, the head brain, if you have questions about the thinking mind, the connecting mind, the receiving mind, hopefully that stuff is clear for you. And let's do some exercises together so that we can, well, first I want to talk about the different things that you can do to increase or to activate your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, your head brain, basically. And that includes definitely doing some chakra work, doing even guided meditations for the chakras, and getting them all, getting that whole stream of energy up and down the body flowing cohesively, flowing abundantly, flowing healthily. So you can do chakra work, you could get a chakra clearing, you can do it yourself, you can hire somebody, you can hire an energy healer. Also on the tangible, doing massage and working that vagus nerve and getting that lymph fluid going up and down the body and getting the cerebrospinal fluid moving up and down the body. All of these things inside of our bodies serve purposes. And so we don't exactly know 100% what those purposes are, but I believe in the magic of the body. I know of the magic of the body. The body heals itself. The body is amazing. And so if we have these cerebral spinal fluids and we have this lymph, we know that the lymph keeps us healthy, and the immune system, same with the cerebrospinal fluid. So you could get craniosacral therapy, in fact. You could, that's the massaging, really super light massage that gets the fluid moving up and down your spine. So think Kundalini energy. You can do Kundalini yoga. You can do breath work. All of these things just to really address, I would say, the whole body. We don't need to compartmentalize, but addressing all of the systems. So let's do this. I want to do two short exercises with you. All right. Somebody says very helpful. Good. I can't see your names on my little app, darn it. But thank you for the feedback. I'm glad that this is helping. So let's do another vagus nerve exercise. I am obsessed with a vagus nerve now, guys, and I have been obsessed with it for a while. You're going to hear me talk about it all the time. The vagus nerve, it's the Kundalini thing that the Easterners have been talking about forever that I never understood. And so now I get it. Okay, it's the freaking vagus nerve. I get that because we can see it and it's in our bodies, and it goes from the back of our skull to our tailbone, right? And so that's where the chakras are. That's where the all of our brains are. So I know that it's a network that connects everything, and I'm so about the connection. And when I see how our systems are interlaced and these profound networks, I know that that's not accidental. It's not accidental, right? So then when I see the things that are the bridges, I get excited about them because I know that they're doing a lot of work, and I want to access them. I want to leverage them. So the vagus nerve exercise we're going to do today includes a little bit of that moving that cerebrospinal fluid around as well, right? So I learned that stuff when I was in massage therapy school, but I know it's all related. I know it's like this. So find that at the base of your skull, there is a little indentation in the back of your head. It's like a little hole. It's where the C1 is. The C1 is the vertebrae that doesn't have the spine, so it's got a little indentation instead. And I want you to just gently find that and take your index finger on both hands and just gently press into that. Just really gently. Okay? So we're going to hold that. And then while we're putting gentle pressure on that C1 area, we're going to do the eye exercise. This is activating the vagus nerve. So we're going to lift our eyes up to the right corner. Hold that there. No strain, no stress. Relax your jaw. I just clenched mine. On, here comes all the stuff, the swallow. So we're looking for the signals, the swallows, the sighs, the deeper breathing. When we get a little bit of response, then we can shift our eyes to the other side. That was fast. That was really fast for me. Okay. Just got a big swallow. And then we're going to dart our eyes down below to the bottom left. On my left, anyway. Kind of calmer activity here when I look down. How do you feel in your body when you do this? And then look over to the right below. Yeah, I got some swallow reflex on that one. Okay, and then I'm going to stop because it's starting to give me a little bit of a headache. So we don't want to hurt ourselves, right? Okay. All right. So then to follow up with that, what you can do is, and these are just hilarious because you'll see people naturally do these massages on themselves without knowing what the heck they are or what they're doing. That's our intuition in action. We intuitively know. We intuitively know. Our hands are the extensions of our hearts. They've got a lot of healing energy in there, right? So what do? We touch, we rub, we massage, we caress our little ones when they're not feeling well. Our hands are the first to go into action, right? And then when we're feeling stressed, what do? We rub it out. We do give ourselves some self-care, some self-love. So if you go and you reach to the back of your neck, and this is very, very gentle, very gently, you can take your fingers and rub them up your neck into the base of your spine and give your spine a little nudge, massage in that area. Very light touch, gentle pressure. And then you can even, I feel like I want to move my head down so that I can open that up even more. And then just rub that area with your fingertips. Do what comes natural to you. I want to move my head back and forth. And I got the swallows a lot. And I'm moving that cerebrospinal fluid and getting it going and open. And open. And this is doing two things, probably more. Then you can go behind your ears and rub that area. But the two things that this is accomplishing right now is stimulating your vagus nerve, which creates calm in the body so that we can hear. Remember that the ear pull exercises? That feels good. Opening up the throat chakra, opening up this area, stimulating the vagus, getting the cerebrospinal fluid going, creating calm in our bodies so that we can access our intuitions, and activating our throat, our crown, and our third eye chakras. There we go. Pretty simple. Another thing that I do, I didn't plan on sharing this with you until just now, but another thing that I do quite often is I rub my third eye. I find myself doing this. It's not an exercise that I do intentionally, But I'll rub my third eye. It's like just to calm it down, just to connect with it. Say, hello, how are you, my friend? What's going on? And it's really funny. The lighting in here is kind of bright, but you can't. I have, you know how some people have the double wrinkles, and then I have this one very profound wrinkle in the middle of my forehead. I've had that since I was I was aware of it in my early 30s, and it used to be really deep. And since I started doing my work, it's really calm, but it's my favorite. I will never get Botox because it's like, this is my third eye crease, baby. I love it. I own it. And it's like, but all of the meditative work that I've done and the calming that I do has decreased the crease, from being a deep wrinkle like it used to be. And now it's like my badge of honor. Silliness. Okay, I just shared that. All right. And so I'll send you another video today with more vagus nerve exercises around the ears and throat, so that we can just continue with this process. All right. So let me know if you have any questions or comments about what we've talked about before I close out. All right. So use me up. I'm here to serve and to make this stuff very user friendly for you. All right. So I do want to talk about, in closing, I want to talk about what a really healthy intention is for developing our intuitions. And I think it is practicing this combined wisdom. I love this term, combined wisdom. So it's utilizing the head, the heart, and the gut. It's utilizing all of our systems. It's saying hello to them and creating relationships with them, knowing that they're amazing components of our bodies, and they are the brains for our intuitions and our information and our healing and all kinds of stuff. And so to practice that combined wisdom will help us achieve a more overall well-being, right? Just really focusing on overall well-being. So eating well. So we know that when we just have an overall healthy intention, to have a whole food diet, to get adequate sleep, to get, the 10,000 steps or whatever your exercise is, to look at the physical, the mental, the emotional, the heart space, paying attention to all of the systems, but not so much to where we're uber focused on it. Because I think if we're uber focused on any of these things, that has a tendency to block, because that means we're overthinking. That means we're in that critical mind, that thinking mind. And I want us to move more into that intuitive mind and just listen to what needs our attention. Listen to, have these conversations with your body. It's like, what do you need? How can I serve you today? You're so amazing. Thank you for communicating. Thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for protecting my organs. Thank you for all the things, right? So moving into that more receptive mind versus the thinking mind. Of course, we're always going to use our thinking mind, but have more of a lean into the intuitive mind, so that we can really develop our relationships with our three brains and with our bodies, and what they need, and how they serve us and how we can serve them, right? So we create the environment for our three brains to live well, and they treat us like kings and queens. So nice trade-off. So bottom line, let's not take any of this for granted, right? So that living in the intuition and having the, developing your psychic senses and all of that is not an isolated thing. I guess I can't say that enough. This is a network. This is a whole body network of of receiving and transmitting and communication and information, um, communication basically, that it's just going everywhere. So keep your mind, or keep your intention on whole body, keep your intention on the entire system, and then you will see your intuition flourish. You don't really need to know how you got the intuitive information, just knowing that it comes in all kinds of different ways, three brains that we're aware of. And I think that that's all we need to know as far as that goes. We don't need to micromanage that, right? We know that, and then we just treat this whole system well. All right. So you guys have any questions? Great stuff. Thanks. You're welcome. This is my fun place. I'm really happy to share this information with you. I am glad it's useful to you. Just take really good care of yourself today. And then tomorrow, we're going to get into the, what in the industry we call them the clairs. We're going to talk about your senses. Remember how I talked about the sixth sense playing very well with the five senses? So tomorrow we're going to explore that and see, which senses you are more dominant in. And then we'll play around with that and do some exercises that speak to all of the senses so that we can heighten our sensory systems to receive that more subtle intuitive info. All right, because now we already know how we receive it, and now we're going to go get it basically and create it. All right, you guys. So thanks for being here. This was a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you in the group with more exercises, activities, and I will see you back here tomorrow morning. So take good care and take good care of each other. All right.